This photo is kind of unique among my Weekly 50 photos in that it's a photo of a dog. It's an animal. It's specifically, it's a pet. And we don't have pets, my wife and I. We have, it's just the two of us with our two boys, and we don't have pets. And that's just a decision we've made. And because of that, you don't see a lot of animal pictures of pets. Like I try to put some like insects and wildlife like squirrels and birds and stuff, but nothing that is in that genre of animals that would be considered pets. So it's kind of fun to take photos like this when I have the opportunity to. When I shot this, we were visiting my wife's parents, or my wife's mom and stepdad, in Missouri over the Christmas break. And this is their dog, Tucker. Hey, everyone, meet Tucker. Tucker is, well, okay, to be honest, I don't know what breed of dog he is. So you can add that to the list of things I don't know. I don't know anything about flowers or plants or like any sort of like greenery or growing things outside. And I also don't know anything about breeds of dogs because we don't have any pets. So this is Tucker. He's a small dog. He's just a super friendly dog that loves to jump up on your lap. He loves to hover around when you're in the kitchen. He loves to go on walks. Like, he's a really fun dog to have around. And when we went up to visit my wife's mom and stepdad, I knew in advance I was, I didn't know. One of my goals was to get a picture of their dogs. They have two dogs, Tucker and Hildy, and Hildy is the next, you'll see her in next week's photo. And I didn't quite know what I was looking for in terms of a photo of their pets, because again, I don't really practice this type of photography very often. So I didn't really know what I was aiming for. At first, I tried to get a close-up of their eyes. That just it wasn't very interesting. And it worked. I mean, I had my macro lens, and I got really close to the eyes of both of their pets, and it just wasn't that interesting of a photo. Like, it's a dog's eye. I mean, I don't know. I suppose there's a way to make it interesting, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. So instead, I wanted to get a picture that kind of showed a little bit more of, in this case, Tucker's face, or maybe even his personality. I wanted it to be interesting. And originally I tried like taking photos of him as he's just on the floor, but I couldn't get his attention. And so it just wasn't working. So here you're actually seeing my son holding Tucker, and which is another rare thing for Weekly 50. I don't have pictures of my kids here on Weekly 50 because that's not what this blog is about. But in this case, this is the only way I could get Tucker to hold still. It was for my son to hold him. So he's holding Tucker, and Tucker's looking out the window, and you can see the reflection of the window in his eye. And I just sat there kind of like moving around from side to side, taking photos and hoping one worked. And in the end, the reason I like this one was there's a dimensionality to it. Tucker's nose is out of focus. His eye is tack sharpened in focus, but his other eye is just a little out of focus. And he looks like he's interested in something, which he probably is. Like maybe there's a squirrel outside or a pedestrian walking by on the sidewalk. And maybe he's looking at something, and I don't know. It adds a sense of mystery and excitement to the photo to think about what he might be looking at out there. And then you also see my son's hand on the bottom of the photo curled around Tucker. So there's action going on. There's something going on here, even if it's not like a Michael Bay action movie. There's something happening here that's more than just a picture of a dog. And there's things happening beyond the frame where you can infer meaning beyond just what you're looking at here. I shot this at a really wide aperture, f3.3, but the reason it worked is I'm actually kind of far away. I used my macro lens, my 105mm macro lens, and you've heard me say many, many times if you've been listening to these posts over the past year or so that depth of field is really tricky with the macro lens. Well, when you're a normal distance away, it's a little more manageable. I don't know how far it was, probably a couple feet away. And at that distance, you can shoot at a wider aperture and control the depth of field a little bit more. And if you zoom in on the photo on Flickr, you can see everything in that eye. Like, it's tack sharp, and it's really fun to take that type of shot. So thank you, Tucker, for being a photo subject. I appreciate it. And I hope you all enjoy this kind of a rare glimpse of a pet photo that you don't see too often here on Weekly 50.